Good morning. Well, sadly not from my boat. The weather's atrocious as ever. There's been a couple of small marginal weather windows, but not when I've been available. So I'm in the kitchen and I thought I'd talk to you about this big girl. Devon Brown crabs. There's a couple of reasons for doing that. One is that some people won't have prepared a crab. There are probably different ways of doing it. This is the way I do it. But if you want to eat crab, then you can obviously buy them picked out. Hand-picked crab is expensive. Some commercial operations jet wash them out, and that's disgusting. It tastes like crab flavoured water rather than crab. Or you can buy them cooked from fishmongers and the like, or if you're lucky enough to live somewhere like we do, you can buy them directly from the boat. So we buy ours live on the day that they're caught, and then we deal with them ourselves. Some people won't be comfortable with that, so what we do, this is a standard size Devon Brown Crab, really good. This is a hen crab. You can tell that from the apron, that's this bit here. On a cock crab, that's much more pointed and narrow, and the claws would be bigger than that. So this is a hen crab. The way we deal with it, there are several ways of doing it. One's not necessarily more right than the other, it's just your own personal preference. If you peel back the apron, this bit in the middle, and if you can see the puncture wound there, put a skewer in that. Directly below that is the heart. It kills the crab straight away, and then this one goes into cold water. That is the only important thing. I don't like the idea of putting a live crab into boiling water. I don't think it's a humane way of dealing with them. But even a dead crab, if you put that directly into boiling water, the muscles and stuff tenses up, it throws its legs, all the legs will come off, and then the water, the boiling water will enter the legs and enter the shell cavity, and you're ruining the product really. So that goes into cold water, bring it up to the boil, 10 minutes on the boil, let it cool. Now, shellfish freeze really well. So we get a couple of crabs a fortnight in the season. As long as they're wrapped in a bit of newspaper to protect them from frost damage and put in the freezer, they'll last for several months. So this one's come out and defrosted and is ready to go. So the first reason for putting this video on about picking out and preparing crab is that, so if you fancy giving it a go, then it's a bit of a guide if you like, and you can try that. The second reason is that we like watching MasterChef. Now, a couple of seasons ago, Monica Galetti made a pig's ear of picking out a crab, and on the current series of MasterChef, Marcus Waring did the same. I'll tell you what I think they did wrong, and sort of the waste that they cause. Maybe it's just for the speed of television, but yeah, they didn't make the best job of it. Right. So you've got your crab, it's cooked, you've either bought it cooked or you've dispatched it and cooked it yourself. Equipment you're going to need: various bowls, a decent sized knife, pair of pliers are handy but not essential, crab pickers, again handy but not essential. These are really inexpensive. If you haven't got crab pickers, you can use a cocktail stick or a skewer, something like that. Rolling pin and a chopping board. A nice sturdy one is handy. Now, in addition to that, and not everyone will have one of these at home, if you happen to have the odd octogenarian kicking around, and she happens to have picked out Devon crabs for most of those 83 years, then that is really useful as well. So introducing to you, I call her the mother-in-law, the kids call her Little Nana. She's not that little, she is sat down, but she's not that big either. So if you have got a little Nana at home, and she's good at picking out crab, they can be very useful. Okay, so the first step to get into the crab, and the first mistake from MasterChef, in my opinion. So take the legs off, and what they did on MasterChef was just rip the legs off like that, all of them. Good or bad?
Bad.
So
Take that bit off first.
So yeah, so what that does is it leaves this shoulder joint, I suppose, in the crab itself. So that makes the body really difficult to dislodge from the shell, and it also makes picking it out afterwards more difficult. So if you do happen to snap one off like that, you can take your pliers, sometimes they'll come out by hand, or the handle of a spoon, something like that. And take that knuckle right out. Now the way you should take the crab legs off is if you just get hold of that knuckle and go from front to back, they come out complete. So we'll just take all of those off. So they come off quite easily. Certainly once you've got the first one off, they come off quite easy. And then the big claws in exactly the same way. Just rotating them front to back, and they all come out. And you can already see there's a decent chunk of meat on that big claw. So that's those done. I'll set that to one side for a minute, and we'll deal with the legs and claws first. Right. It doesn't really matter which order you do them in. I'm going to do them in a particular order just to make a point about the MasterChef method, really. So going to deal with these big nippers first. And like I said, they're a decent size, but this is a hen crab. If you got a cock crab, they would be twice that size. So if you can avoid cracking the shell at any point, the better. Cracking the shell, more chance of getting a bit of shell in with the crab meat, but there's no way on the big claws that you can avoid that. So let's just pop this down a little bit. Here's where your rolling pin comes in handy. There's no need for a massive whack. It's just going to spread it all over the place and crack it unnecessarily. That's that bit gone. The middle piece and the end piece. That's it cracked. I'll do the same with the other one, and I'm now going to hand these bits over to little Nana to take the bits out. Right, so here we are for getting the claw meat out. There's absolutely no requirement to get these out whole, but it is quite satisfying if they do come out whole. So there we are. One nipper, the meat was left in. So inside this bit, there's a big bit of cartilage. So just take that crab off into a bowl. And there's the cartilage in the middle of the nipper. The rest of it is just a case of picking it away, avoiding the crab. If you do lose a little bit, like this bit in the this other bit in the point of the claw, you can use your crab picker or cocktail stick or whatever, just to try and get every little bit out. Okay, so my assistant is just finishing off the big claws then, and again I'm going slightly out of order here, but we'll take the crab body out of the shell now. So the apron comes off, and I like to just get rid of all of these little mouthpieces. They can come off. None of these are getting thrown away, by the way, apart from the apron. That'll get thrown away. And then once all those little bits are off, Then it's just a case of moving the body part and taking that middle out. Now, for those of you that haven't dealt with crab before, one thing that you will have probably be concerned about are the what's called the dead man's fingers. It's just a term for the way they look. These are the dead man's fingers. It's just the gills. They're not poisonous, nothing that's going to do you massive harm anyway, but they are completely indigestible. You wouldn't, if you accidentally put one of those in, you just would not be able to chew it. So anyway, they're the dead man's fingers. They get thrown away. Various other bits around here. All these little sort of bony mouth parts, they can get thrown away. The dead man's fingers the other side. Sometimes you've got some guts in here. You can sort of tell the difference. They're just a bit sort of gristly and slimy. So they get thrown away. There's not very much of them, and if they went in, it's not going to do you any harm. Then the shell itself. We've got the rest of the mouthpieces at the top end. They can come out. Get rid of those, and the rest of it is I need another bowl. I'll come back to you in a second. Right, I've got one here.
You got one?
Yeah. So the rest of it is the brown meat. So you can just take a spoon. This one was quite early in the season, so there's not a massive amount of brown meat, but all of that can get scraped out. Now, it's up to individual taste really. We personally like eating the brown meat. It makes fantastic bait. That's your crab cart. If you're not interested in eating it, but I am. Right. Let's bring you up again. So, the second mistake, I believe, on MasterChef. That's the meat out of the big claws. They ate that. All of the brown meat, everything that's in the body, and all of the legs went into a stock pot to make crab bisque. Now, I'm sure it was an absolutely delicious crab bisque, but when we finished taking this lot out, I'll show you what else was left, because we will also use the shell, the broken down legs, the broken down claws to make crab bisque, and it makes very good crab bisque in itself without wasting an awful lot of meat. The next stage then we'll do the legs. So in the legs, like I said previously, if you can avoid cracking the shell, if you don't crack the shell, then no shell's going to end up accidentally in the meat. So if you take the claws and work from the toes, just break them side to side and pop that out gently, and all of the meat from that section is there just on a couple of tendons. So if we just scrape those off, and that's what you've got left, just the tendons that were supporting it. And there is no meat left in that section. So if we do the same with the next section, again, all of the meat from that section is now there. That little tendon came off. They're the ones that end up in the meat sometimes if you're not careful. And then this last section doesn't normally work, and that hasn't. There's a little bit of meat that's come off there, but not all of the meat. So there's nothing left in the sort of first 3 sections of leg. There is a little bit left in there, which you can either just pinch with the pliers or give it a little crack with the rolling pin. Not enough. Take those shells apart. Use your crab pickers. Slide out the remaining meat, which is quite a chunk. And that's it. Just shell left from that leg, which goes into the pot for stock. I'll call my assistant back and we'll do the rest of the legs. Right, so while those legs are getting done, we've got the body. Now there's a mixture here of brown and white meat. So these little bits of brown meat first can come off and go in the brown meat bowl. Scrape all those away. You might find like the odd extra piece of mouthpiece that just needs to come out. Basically, anything here that's soft you can eat, anything that's hard you can't eat it. Right, so the only other bit that's in there, and again, crab is quite straightforward because if it looks like you can't eat it, don't. The only couple of bits here is a little tube which comes from these vents that are in the apron to, I don't know what they are actually, something to do with the filter system. And on the inside, let me pull that out. It's just a slightly sort of soggy tube that you're not going to want to eat. So get rid of those if you spot them. If you don't, it doesn't really make any difference. Then you've got the body. That can normally get broken by hand or with the knife to start with. Crack it in halves. And then you've got all these little, there's the other little bit of tube. That's gone. And then you've got all these little cavities and labyrinths that contain extra white meat that just need picking out patiently with a crab picker. So we'll get on with those and bring you back when it's done. So those like shoulder knuckles that if you don't take them out properly would have all been attached into these sockets here. Now we've when we take the legs off properly, that's what it looks like on the outside of the body. And without dropping too much, those little cavities are just full, if you're patient with it, of crab meat. You can attack them from both sides, but you can see an empty one there and then all the others that are still full that need excavating. So there we are, the crab picking duo are complete. Thank you, little Nana. And what we're left with is a little pot of waste. Take the apron out of that. There's very little, dead men's fingers, etc. Like I said, it was an early season crab that's been in the freezer, so not a massive amount of brown meat, but still an acceptable amount. Being bothered to take the white meat out of the legs and the body, that has at least doubled the amount of white crab meat that we've got. There's still a little bit that ends up left in the shell, so we've got a nice pot of shell, crab leg bits and pieces, and the carapace itself, the shell body. That'll get broken up and made into a crab bisque, which will be delicious. So yeah, on a summer's evening, it'd be nice to pick that out at a table with a nice crisp glass of white. But they will. I don't know what we're going to do with this crab, but we will use it for a very nice meal. Hope you enjoyed that. If you fancy giving a crab a go yourself, yeah, why not? crack on and go ahead, literally crack on and go ahead. Hopefully the weather will improve. We might get a bit of winter fishing out of it yet. We will see. The storms have to cease. The wind definitely has to calm down a good chunk. But yeah, hopefully next time on the water. See you then. Bye.
Bye.